All right, how's it going, everybody? This is the Osmo.com NHL Strategy Show coming to you on a Saturday. We've got another nice big slate, bunch of teams on a back-to-back. To be honest, kind of a mess of a slate because we're not really going to know a lot of stuff. We've got some guys returning, possibly some injuries. Pittsburgh returns, Mikko Rantanen. If you saw my lineups yesterday, I somehow ended up with Mikko Rantanen in a bunch of my lineups. He was not playing. So I think that was the first time that's happened all season for me. It's kind of a tough week for NHL scheduling. Kind of a weird week for our scheduling with the holiday going on, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the holiday if you didn't catch the show yesterday. And then, hopefully you've had some success playing DFS, NFL. I was going to say MLB. Not quite MLB. NHL. And then NBA. We'll take a look at the Yahoo contest on NBA. We are sponsored by Yahoo. They're also a pretty great place to play. Even if you're not really an NBA DFS player, NFL, or NHL, they've got it all. And low management fees, 10.7% in this NHL one. Nice, an Osmo logo right there. Maybe that's one of you that's watching. 10.7% management fee, much, much lower than what you're going to find elsewhere. And then huge NFL contest, nice big NBA contest as well. The one they ran out yesterday, Nolan had a bunch of success in that, looking at what they've got going on for NFL this week. 12% management fee. That's about 2/3 of what you're going to pay compared to these other sites. Or about 75%. This is about 2/3, 16% is pretty much standard rake. But Yahoo kind of sticks in the 10 to 12% range. And then they ran out a guaranteed overlay for NFL on Thanksgiving. Actually, a couple of them that I did pretty well in, the 20 max, but not as well as Nolan. So I know this is an NHL show, but just want to give a shout out. You see the management fee here, negative 14.3%, guaranteed overlay, 25K. It actually didn't even fill. They're about, let's see. Wow. They didn't even come close to filling this. So softest tournament probably you're going to find anywhere. No disrespect to Nolan, but what a stud. Let's see. He got, what did he even end up getting? Is this the prize he got? Okay, so he got, oh man, I can't even look at this contest. Anyways, Nolan, if you saw his screenshot on Twitter, maybe that's what I'm going to do. He doesn't really play NBA DFS, and he just used the tools on the site, and he was able to have a very successful night. I think he won like $3K off of a couple $100 in entry fees. So really nice job by him. Use the tools on the site, play on Yahoo. I mean, there's really no excuse not to. If you like saving some money, Yahoo is the place to be. NHL lineup study. Let's quick look at last night, and then we'll get into the games. Apologies for the weird timing. Like I said, the scheduling not only sucks for the NHL, but it's been hard for us. People have been off. I actually have family in town. There's a big storm happening right now, so hopefully my power doesn't go off. So I wanted to make sure I got something in early today. I think we should be good for this for the show as far as finishing it, but afterwards, I'm not sure. So I'm probably gonna wait to. I'm probably gonna wait to actually enter contests, to be honest, or maybe just I don't know. But yeah, pretty nasty storm happening all day here. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Last night we had a interesting lineup, winning the $10 10K to first. Congratulations to Aaron's boys. One entry. We see this happen every once in a while. 214.7. Obviously, this lineup was not duplicated. No real stack. So you got a two-man stack, but it was Kucherov and Sergachev. So kind of an uncorrelated stack from the same team. Suter, Martin Jones, Pavelski had just the complete nut forwards. Nyquist, Saad, I think he scored a goal. Couturier was solid. Eichel did it again where he scores 40 DK points, and I think his line mates combined for like under 20. Kucherov, stud, only 5.5% owned. I thought he would be a little bit higher than that, but I think we were right on. So always trust those ownership projections. That's at least going to give you a good range. They're still in beta, but like we always say, I mean, as Alex gets more and more data, and Tom and Eddie, the guys behind the scenes, it's only going to become better. So been having some success with the ownership projections. Last night was not one of those nights. Completely unstacked lineup. Ended up taking it down. Quick look. My lineups, we can look at just my exposures. I had a bunch of Dougie, Theodore, Yossi. I mean, none of them scored over 7.3. Some Carlson. He ended up being okay, but none of my defensemen really did much of anything. I thought I had some chances with Washington too, but a lot of my Washington too was paired with these expensive defensemen, and didn't. I ran a lot of 3-3s, so wasn't going to get there when Eichel and Kucherov by themselves were, doing a lot of the damage while not getting their line mates involved as much. I see a bunch of you have already hit the like button. If you could, feel free to drop us a like. It helps us continue to do this kind of content for no charge. Well, really just your time. But thanks for watching me. If you are, we also got the Yahoo NFL show going on right now with Alex and Nolan. That was supposed to be at a different time, but unfortunately we had to go at the same time. That show's usually on Fridays, so once again, weird scheduling, but you could always watch this. Probably a lot of you will end up watching this on delay. Tricky slate today because we don't know the news, so a lot of these teams, like Buffalo and Toronto played each other last night. I'm not seeing many morning skates, and the ones that actually do skate today are probably going to be optional. If you're playing the early slate, it looks like Kincaid is starting and not Price. So I think you've got a while to make that swap, but just be aware that let's see. Did I have that? Let's see. Keith Kincaid. All right. Actually, let me make this swap right now so I don't forget it, and then we'll get going. Man, unstacked lineup wins it all last night. It's always frustrating when that happens. For me, I mean, I like to stack, but if you can nail the nut one-offs, I mean, who am I to tell you that's not the right way to play, right? All right, let's do this. I got Price out of my lineups. Kincaid is in, and we're ready to go. Buffalo, Toronto. We've got Carter Hutton and Frederik Andersen in net. Again, back-to-back. They played in Buffalo last night. Quick trip over to Toronto. 2.8 implied total for the Sabres. 3.8 for the Leafs. Once again, kind of the same sort of matchups. I mean, Tavares line saw a lot of the Eichel line when they were on the road yesterday. I think we're going to see the Tavares line against Eichel, Olsen, and Reinhart for most of the game. But that line does play a lot of ice time. Matthews is going to get his ice time as well. Full stacks here. I'm looking at Toronto 1. I actually like them quite a bit. So I'm going to finish running my crunch so I get to a nice round 150. Once again, for me, it's kind of like I think I'm going to be heavy on teams, not necessarily like nitpicking lines from teams, if that makes sense. I like being overweight on two lines from the same team. I've been doing that a lot lately. I kind of like that because then you're just hoping for a bunch of goals from the top six of the team. You could onslaught and do stuff like that. I don't necessarily love that on an 11-game slate, but you could certainly do that with Toronto if you wanted. Matthews line with the Tavares line, I think you can fit that pretty easily, or take one of the guys out, take Hyman out or something, and put in Riley and include a defenseman or Tyson Barrie. But yeah, I really love the Matthews line. I think they're going to see a lot of time against 2 and 3 for the Sabres. That's favorable, and they're awesome. Matthews is incredible. Not that restrictive with the pricing too. The pricing is pretty soft today, I think. Like looking at my exposures right now, I have a lot of what I consider the top lines, and when that's usually the case, that means the pricing is usually soft. So, not crazy about the Eichel line. In fact, I'm barely getting to any of them right now, so things could change, I suppose. If I was single entering, I don't think I'd get to the Eichel line. They just seem to never go off all as a line together, which is incredibly frustrating when you're trying to 3-man forward stack. That's just me. That's just my gut feeling about it, not necessarily numbers behind that. But I'm not going to end up on a lot of the Eichel line. I think they get over-owned quite a bit, even though Eichel's been fantastic for 8,200. Montour is a guy I like for 41. If you're going with Buffalo 1, you probably want to add in Ristolainen. Early stream. The scheduling got weird, and I'm dealing with the storm, and hopefully we still have power. So early stream it is. Riley is your guy for 6K. I shouldn't say is your guy. I mean, you could go with Tyson Barrie as well. 5,200, a little bit of a discount. I like Barrie. I like both guys, but I think you can go either one with the Matthews line. Washington and Detroit, we've got a 3.7 implied total for the Caps, 2.7 for the Red Wings, Ilya Samsonov, and I think it's going to be Bernier for the Red Wings. He got pulled last game against the Leafs. They just got slaughtered. But either way, it doesn't really matter that much. I don't think I'm playing a lot of Detroit goalies here. But, so Caps on a back-to-back. Detroit not on a back-to-back. Wait, are they on a back-to-back? They are on a back-to-back. They played Philadelphia yesterday. I'm trying to think, who did they start yesterday? All these games, man, the holidays really messed me up. Usually good at remembering who they played. They played Philadelphia, I know that. But we got some new lines with Larkin, Bertuzzi, and Luke Glendening instead of Robbie Fabry. I kind of like that, oddly enough. I mean, Fabry, I don't know why they split up Fabry and Athanasiou. Someone on the stream, when I was doing it yesterday, someone on the stream said, why did they take Fabry off that line? He was doing well with Athanasiou, and so they put him right back on there. So reading Jeff Blashill's mind is never kind of a profitable thing to do, or trying to project what he's going to do. But it looks like the lines stayed together for a decent amount of time, even though they got slaughtered because they absolutely stink. But I don't think it's bad for Larkin and Bertuzzi necessarily. They had decent numbers at 5-on-5, which is tough to do against the Couturier line. So I actually like Detroit 1 quite a bit. I was pretty much off of them last night. Tonight, going up against Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, Wilson, that is very favorable. The Eller, Verana, Oshie line, they've been a little bit inconsistent. Like last night, they were dominant in terms of shot share. And tonight, they're going to have another good matchup. So Larkin usually goes up against top competition. I think that's really good for both sides. So Washington 1. Definitely, they're up there for me. They're not quite in. It's different than last night. Like I loved them last night, and it didn't quite work out. They didn't kill me, but you've got McDavid, you've got the McKinnon line, who we're gonna have to talk about. That's one where I'm gonna be monitoring ownership. But they're certainly up there. I just don't know if they're gonna get in the top 5 or 6 exposed lines for me tonight. I don't quite think they're going to make it there, but great power play spot. I will have some of the Eller line as well, for sure. Weird to say, the Caps are not quite a priority play for me tonight. If I was single entering, I think their ownership is going to be in check because they're on the road. I don't quite think I would get here. It's really tough for me to imagine not playing the McKinnon line a ton tonight. So, anything else here? Athanasiou, you could one off. I'm actually probably going to have the most of Detroit 1 in this game, and I'm including Glendening, I think. You could put Fabry back on there, I guess, for the power play 1 correlation, but I like playing the even strength lines. I think they're going to be good at 5-on-5 as far as being able to create scoring chances and high danger chances. Even though it's not the best line in the world, it's certainly not defensively. I think they're going to be okay. Carlson 7,800. Let's see how much Carlson. I actually ran a 150 before this. I got to 21% Carlson. I like that. Yeah, he's expensive. He's overpriced, but he's got as much upside as anyone. If he's the raw point, the top raw point getter on the slate tonight, would you be surprised? I mean, he's done it a number of times this season. So I think he's fantastic for 7,800. Surprised I'm even getting there, but when you factor in like the last 10, 15 games, and basically the whole season for him, he's just been off the charts good. So I'm going right back there. I think you can one-off him, but if I was hand building, I would like to get to one of the Caps' top 2 lines with him. Let's move it on. Detroit defensemen are not plays that I really look at very much in general. Unless Hronik ends up on the top power play, they're kind of irrelevant to me for the most part. Carolina, Tampa, we've got James Reimer against Curtis McElhinney, a couple of backups. Both these teams on a back-to-back. Tampa played Washington last night. Carolina played at home, got shut out against Nashville, which I didn't really see coming. Here, I don't really love a ton. I like, actually, the third line has been one I've been playing a little bit for Tampa. I do like them here once again. They're just dirt cheap. They get the better matchups at 5-on-5. I don't think they're going to spend too much time against Aho, Svechnikov, and Teravainen. Probably going to spend some time against 3 and 4 for Carolina. So if you're just completely punting, if you're trying to jam in all the studs, if you're trying to do a Toronto power play stack or something like that, I think Tampa 3 can be used as a filler stack. Point Plot and Kucherov, I always have to bump them up manually. I did get to some of them organically without. I usually run a crunch with just nothing. Like I don't make any adjustments, and then I adjust and bump guys up and down and lines. I might X out a couple lines. But I actually did get to some of them. 3.5 implied total for them is solid, but not really out of the ordinary. They are not fully correlated. Palat's on the second power play. 5,100 for him is probably going to make him lower owned. Once again, I like taking the full stack. I want lines that are good at 5-on-5. I haven't really been able to figure out Tampa much this season. But Point and Kucherov both look to be priced really well. They're not quite in the upper echelon of plays for me tonight either. Like I said, McKinnon, McDavid, those are the guys I'm prioritizing. Matthews line, I think I have ahead of Tampa 1. That's just how it's going to be. We haven't even talked about Calgary yet. They're at home against Ottawa, who just got blasted by the Wild after the first period. This would be just a contrarian stack, really. Carolina 2, they're not one that I'm ending up on right now. I'm guessing their ownership is going to be super low. This would be like, it's not the same spot as Pitt 1 the other night because they're not that expensive, but it would be one of those where they've got a better chance of being the top stack than probably their ownership is going to indicate. Tampa 1, what line would they go against on Carolina? Probably Aho, Svechnikov, and Teravainen for a decent amount of time. Outside of that, they're probably going to see. I don't think they're going to really hard match here. And so it's always tough with Tampa because sometimes they use a Cirelli line. But Cirelli's with Stamkos. I don't know. Do they want to do that? How low is too low ownership that I shouldn't play a player? Well, yeah, I mean, you want low ownership on a player. So nothing's too low. All right. So low ownership's good if you're talking about tournaments. If you're talking about cash in general, because DFS has gotten sharper and sharper, if you have ownership projections, the guys at the top are probably going to be the most likely the best plays. Like, there is still bad chalk. But in NHL, like, the guys that are double digits are usually pretty good chalk in our ownership projections, talking about DraftKings. So this is going to be a game I'm underweight on. I've been doing this thing, I don't know if I mentioned yesterday, but I'm trying to boost guys that are attempting more shots lately. Skaters, or forwards and defensemen. And so Dougie falls into that category, but still for 6,800, I don't have Tampa being that great of a matchup at all strengths. So I've only got to about 3% of Dougie. 6,800 is a tough price when we've got Yossi. I think Carlson is quite a bit ahead of him. I like Clefbaum, Nurse, Gio. There's just a bunch of guys ahead of him. So hard for me to prioritize Dougie at 6,800. And then Hedman is the guy I rarely get to, 65. It would be more of a, if I'm looking to power play stack Tampa or stacking their top line with Point and Kucherov, Hedman's a great add-in. I always feel like he's always like $500 to $700 too expensive, though. Just my personal feelings based on what I have him doing most nights. Yeah, if you play GPPs, low ownership, you want low ownership, especially on plays that you think are pretty good that might be going overlooked. And there's a lot of them in NHL. All right, let's go to Nashville and Florida. We've got a 3.3 implied total for the Preds, 3.4 for the Panthers. UC Saros going tonight for the Preds. Chris Driedger, don't know how to pronounce that with the D-G, Driedger. We'll go with Driedger. Anyways, both these teams played last night. Wait, did they play? Did Florida play? I know Nashville played. I'm getting all my teams mixed up here. Anyways, it doesn't matter. We know who's going for Florida. Barkov, Huberdeau, Dadonov. I think they're going to be pretty popular. 3.4 applied total. Nashville had a shutout last night. Their goaltending's been spotty, and we've seen a bunch of high totals against them, especially when they're on the road. And Florida's a team that can generate a lot of offense. Barkov back with Huberdeau and Dadonov, fully correlated. You can take off Dadonov and put in Hoffman if you want. That's maybe an option to get a little bit different in your Florida 1 stacks, but I think they're going to be like 8 to 10% owned. And for me, they can break the slate. Florida 1's awesome. They're a solid play here. No doubt about that. If their ownership is near where we've got the Matthews line, McDavid, or McKinnon, they're probably going to get bumped down for me. If they're significantly lower than any of those guys, well, they're going to get bumped up into like the top tier for me. So definitely they're up there. They're a priority play. They should be considered in like all formats, I think. Barkov and Huberdeau, I think, are both pretty decent cash plays. I don't have Dadonov grading out as that well, but as a full stack, they're awesome. They're exactly what you want. They're fully correlated. They're going to play a bunch of minutes. There's not really a matchup that you hate on the Nashville side. High total, backup goalie in net for the Preds. It looks good. It looks good. I don't love a lot on the Preds side, except for Yossi. As you guys know, I love Yossi. I will play him whenever. 7K, I think, is a fair price. He's having a fantastic season. And I like paying up for a couple defensemen in the same lineup tonight. I think there is actually a decent amount of mid-tier stacks. Usually get to some Trocheck, but I'm not finding myself getting there. Maybe it's Mulligan and Connolly. I'm assuming those guys are weighing him down a little bit in the projections. I kind of like the Duchesne-Granlund combo for Nashville. I think they're going to avoid a lot of time against Barkov. Not that it's the end of the world going up against the Barkov line, They don't have elite defensive numbers, but Duchesne and Granlund have been pretty good together. Carr is 2,600, and he's been sticking there. So you could play a $2,600 winger with what I think are two pretty quality players in Granlund and Duchesne. Those two guys are on the top power play, and you can also play them with Yossi, which I like. Let's see. $4,500 Keith Yandle. Man. I'm looking at my Yandle lineups. Man, he had a stretch there where he was really good for like 3-4 games. But outside of that, I mean, he's going to do that, right? When he runs into a couple points, he's going to have big games. He's not necessarily going to get there alone. Like, there's just not many times he's going to get the block shot or shot on goal bonus. But for 4,500, you can deal with that. And he's going to skate a lot with them at 5-on-5. So he correlates to them really well. So I can't dump on Yandle today. He's not too bad of a play. This is the one day I'm going to play the Preds. Yeah. I think Rayrock, it feels like you don't like the Preds. Unknown goalie, right? So yeah, high total here for the Preds. I mean, it's a perfectly fine spot. I think I prefer Nashville 2. I think I'm going to be a little bit higher on them than Nashville 1. And I think ownership might have them flipped a little bit. Every time I see you in a slate, I know it's over for me. I don't know if that's directed at me, but not lately. Boy, we've had some rough NHL days the last few. But I did have a good week a couple weeks ago, so not the end of the world. Going to go through ups and downs. Saros has been okay. Yeah, Rene was solid last night. Maybe Nashville's about to turn it around. Ottawa and Calgary, 2.6 implied total for the Sens, 3.5 for the Flames. Marcus Hogberg going up against David Riddick. Hogberg is likely, he is also min salary on DraftKings, 6,500, and going to see a lot of volume. So if he doesn't get pulled, he's probably going to be okay, even if he lets up 3 to 4 goals. He's just probably going to see a lot of shots. So the upside is massive for a $6,500 goalie with the new scoring. Even if he's not very good, goalies can have, this is an event-based sport. You can have some good luck on your side. It's not like Calgary's been blowing anybody out of the water either. They've just been thoroughly disappointing all season. That being said, if there's a time to play Calgary, you would think it would be right now with this backup. Calgary 3, do they still have crazy numbers? I'm going to look at this, and maybe maybe that's why you're saying Calgary 3, but they had this one game where they had 25 shot attempts at 5-on-5 with Ryan, Dylan Dubé, and Milan Lucic, and I thought natural stat trick was broken, to be honest. Man, if they had Mangiapane instead of Lucic, that'd be pretty nice. Tom Brady of NHL DFS. Yeah. Something like that. I wish. What am I getting alerts for? Okay. Oh, NFL rankings. EMAC is a beast. Yeah, EMAC just kind of grinds out a bunch of different sports in the low dollar stuff, and he's just solid at everything. Is he EMAC taking all your winner take alls? I swear. This guy's always binking a winner take all, feels like. Can you guys hear that vacuum going on? Hopefully not. Anyways, Giordano with Calgary 1 looks like it's going to be very popular. Calgary 1 is underpriced. They have underperformed. However, let me turn my mic this way. However, they are they're too good of a play to, I think, completely avoid. If I'm single entering, I don't think that I am getting to Calgary 1, to be honest. If you're 3-maxing, yeah, you're probably going to want a Calgary 1 team. Or what I think is also a nice way to differentiate is just putting Tkachuk instead of Lindholm. full power play correlation for Calgary. One, Kachuk's got a ton of upside by himself. And if Calgary gets cooking on the power play, you go 4-man with Gaudreau, Monahan, Tkachuk, and Gio. And that's really, I mean, if Calgary does go off, hard to imagine them getting left out of the party, right? So you might not catch every goal, but you're going to be in a pretty good spot if Calgary does score 4 or 5 here. So that's kind of what I like. I mean, if I'm one-offing, Tkachuk's got to be up near the top of the list. Matthew, that is, I forget. Tkachuk, Tkachuk, Brown, Duclair. Now, I would actually like Calgary quite a bit here. Ottawa quite a bit here. If I thought that they were going to keep their lines together. So I'll be watching pregame skate early, or at 6:30 Eastern if I'm able to play this slate, weather permitting. I'll be watching to see if Brown, Tkachuk, and Duclair are together, because they got split up last night. They were getting hammered by the Wild. I think they gave up 7 straight goals to end the game. And so they swapped around. I think for the most part they were together, but I don't exactly know when the switch took place. So kind of some old Ottawa flashbacks here. Just be careful on the lines there. If this is the line, yeah, I'll take a bunch of shots on them in my 150. If I can only end up playing one lineup because I'm doing it from my phone or whatever with AT&T service or whatever, they're not going to be on my one lineup. Shabbat at 5,700. I guess he's back on the top power play. I don't know when that switch took place. Makes sense that he should be. I just like a bunch of other guys better. I'm getting up into the 6-7K range if I'm spending up, so he's kind of in an awkward pricing tier. Or I'm going down to like the 4K range, like guys like Nurse. What's Clefbaum at tonight? Clefbaum's 62, yeah. So he would be a guy I'd include in that 6K range. There's Riley, kind of sticking out of Shabbat's range. And to be honest, Shabbat just hasn't been that good. So sad. Gio is a priority defenseman today. Like, if you're multi-entering, I don't know how you don't have 10, 15, 20% of this guy. And a great one-off combo meal in play basically every time for Gio. And a good price at 6,300. It seems like just the trappiest spot of all time for Calgary, right? Underpriced, a team that's been underperforming. You got Ottawa just getting smacked. Like, it looks like just too good to be true. The ownership's going to be up, though. So I'm going to I'm probably going to end up underweight on Calgary, just to sum it all up. If I'm doing 150, it's not an enviable spot to be in. Ottawa was brutal last night, or yesterday afternoon. Quick turnaround. Yikes. Columbus and the New York Islanders, 2.5 implied total for the Blue Jackets, 3 for the Islanders. Elvis Merzlikins against, I actually think it's going to be Grice. If I have the rotation right, I think it was Varlamov last game. Either way, I believe they're priced at the same time, or at the same price. Just keep an eye out for that. You'll know before lock, which is nice. So this game, Barzal, Lee, and Eberle actually went back together last night. So this is one where you need to also check on line rushes, because the Islanders are going to pop for a lot of people. They're really cheap. Eberle and Lee are really cheap. Nelson, Beauvillier, and Brassard was together last night. I believe I have this correct. They were together last night for most of the game. And that's actually a line I have a lot of interest in. I know they're kind of looking overpriced, but man, Brock Nelson's numbers are pretty solid this year offensively. That line as a whole, they're not the highest event line, but they've been pretty decent offensively as well. So if it is Barzal, Lee, Eberle, yeah, that's the obvious value, and they're going to be higher owned. But I kind of like going to Isles 2 here. Old Isles 2, Nelson, Beauvillier, and Brassard, if they are together at 6:30 during pregame skate. So we talked about yesterday being around your computer half an hour before lock. Today is going to be equally as important. And I made mistakes yesterday. I ended up with a bunch of Rantanen. I don't even know how that happened. I was fairly certain I took him out of my pool, and I apparently did not. Not that it would have mattered, but probably cost myself a little bit of money there. So just be aware, be ready to make swaps if you are around. I'll try to post anything I can find if I can see it. What else do we have? Pulak at 4,800. Kind of like Shabbat. It's not really a territory I'm getting to very much. I actually prefer Taze as a value play. He's playing around 20 minutes per game. He's a guy who's going to shoot. He's going to play on the power play in some form or fashion, whether it's the top unit or the second unit. I think you can play him with the Barzal line if he's going to be with Anders Lee. He's decent for 3,400, and that's really all you're looking for. Leddy, there was some question about whether or not he was going to play. Wait, did the Islanders skate this morning? I don't think they did. Let me see if I can. Find this. Did you guys see the Islanders skate today? Because I don't think I did, but we did get news on Leddy. Like he was supposed to play. Let me see here. Doing a quick search. Nicoletti will return to the lineup tonight. Okay. Are there any lines in this? No, there's not. Not any lines. Confirmation that I'm seeing. So, Taze is the new Pulak. I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? On the Blue Jackets side, I still like this third line again. Keep listing them as the third line. I mean, great. They're underpriced based on the amount of ice time they're playing. They were solid again last night. This is a line I'm going to end up with 7 to 10% of probably at the high end. So, like, Boone Jenner played 21 minutes last night, 23 minutes the night before. Let's see what Bjorkstrand. Nyquist had a hat trick last night. He played almost 18 minutes. Bjorkstrand played 18 plus, almost 19 actually. So yeah, third line. They're not actually a third line. They're a top six. You know, whether you want to put them as the top line or their second line, just include them. I hope they keep being listed as the third line because they're lower owned than they should be. They're way underpriced, and they have good results too. So. Play them with Werenski, if you please. Both the Islanders' top two lines, or I should say neither of the Islanders' top two lines have been great defensively or even really good if you look at it. So I like attacking them a lot, actually, with Columbus 3. Seth Jones, 5,500, also a good price, but Werenski is got the top power play duties, so hard for me to give Jones the edge there. It would be more Werenski for me than anything. And let's move it on because I shouldn't say let's move it on. I shouldn't just disregard Dubois and Atkinson being back together. That is solid for those two. I hate Texier up there. He is 2,500, but like he just doesn't really do much. It seems like maybe that's just personal bias. Maybe I'm too hard on the guy. Let me go on to the next game. What do we got? Like 3 more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. All right. We'll get through this in 20 minutes for sure. Penguins Blues, 2.9 implied total for the Pens, 3.1 for the Blues. Matt Murray and Jordan Binnington in net. We saw, I think, some new Blues lines last game or the game before. Either way, Thomas with Shen and Schwartz, Malkin with Gensel and Dominic Simone. There was no Russ last night. I don't know if he's going to play tonight. I would guess not. I'm probably going to crunch like Simone is in. And even when I do, I got to 2 Malkin shares out of 150. Like, this line is crazy. Like, Malkin and Gensel have been crazy good together. And now you get a $2,600 winger that's not a plug. And they're dirt cheap now. Or I guess they're much more affordable rather than $7K Brian Rust. Right? So the results are, yeah, they're crazy. They're overperforming, but they're also performing really well. McDavid night, yeah, I think so. And so I really, really, really love. I shouldn't say love. I like getting to them. I like leaving on Simone. Yeah, I do love the Penguins this year. I don't know, man. I've loved the Crosby line. What's going on with me? Everything's flipped. I haven't been playing that much chalk Dallas. That's saving me some money. Although Nashville keeps getting me. So yeah, as soon as I jump off Nashville, you guys should just know, just all in. They're my kryptonite. I've tried to overcome the Dallas love a little bit. I think I've overcome that a bit, but Nashville just can't, for whatever reason, can't do anything right with them. Now, the Malkin, Gensel, Simone line, not a great matchup. Perron, Riley, Sanford. Their numbers are, yeah, Colorado 1 will not be low owned. Yeah, they're not gonna. Everyone's gonna play them. Everyone, yeah. They're gonna be maybe the highest owned line on the slate. Now, that's not to say that they could still be under owned. They certainly could. If we had a top stack tool, I think it would be pretty close. So, wait, what is this? Sorry, I'm getting alerts on my phone. I need to see if this is stuff that I need to mention here. So, let's see. What do we got here? Okay, I guess Kako is dominating or something. It's amazing. You put him with Panarin and Strome. I think Strome and Panarin, and you've actually probably going to get something out of the guy. O'Reilly, Perron, Sanford. They're going to see the most time, I think, against Gensel, Simone, and Malkin. I like Blues 1 a little bit. I think it makes me feel kind of fishy because the Blues just keep being like underpriced. There's not really a line I love, but I think O'Reilly's just going to have the worst matchup. I mean, Malkin line's been going nuclear like every game. And so they're going to be tasked with the shutdown duty. I think that leaves Shen, Schwartz, Thomas to go up against the rest of the Pittsburgh lines, which are a little bit softer. Hurry up, got to make it to a target run. Yeah, that's a little inside joke for what day was it? Was that Wednesday? No, I was alone. That might have been like a 2-game slate or 3-game slate earlier this week. Yeah, get to your target. Get those Black Friday deals. Yeah, my bad. How inconsiderate of me. So I like Shen, Schwartz, and Thomas a little bit. I actually like Thomas up there, which is weird because depending on which projection system you use, I think we have these being similar values. Like they're both going to be good values, but I prefer Shen, Schwartz, Thomas. If that's not the case on our projections, I will just make that manual adjustment in FC for myself. And I'll end up probably with more Shen, Schwartz, Thomas. I hope they're not like sneaky high owned for a filler because, you put these guys in, it's like, oh, sweet, 6K each for the rest of my lineup. Like I can put in whoever I want. Well, that's going to make them higher owned than they would be otherwise if they were priced more in the mid tier. So that's the only thing I'm worried about is just like decent total for the Blues. They've been playing a little bit better as far as like the advanced analytics. Their record's great. They're not as good as they've shown though. They've been pretty lucky. Pietrangelo, you can play with either of the top two lines. That would be the guy I would go to. But he's in that Shabbat range for me. Only got to a few shares of Pietrangelo, and it is a lot of those are going to be just Blues 1 plus Pietrangelo if I'm running some 4-man power play stacks. Letang, 6,400. Not really on my radar that much. Is this Trotman fellow going to play? 13 minutes last night. No, you don't need to play Trotman, actually. If you're only going to play 13 minutes on the third pairing, I'm out on that. that's probably a fish play. So no Trotman, even though he came up in the optimizer when I ran it. After a quick look, unless his role is going to change overnight, probably not someone you need to play even for min salary. You still need some sort of upside for these punt defensemen. I'd probably, I think there's better punts elsewhere. I like, he's not even a punt anymore. Walker for the Kings. It's been a guy I've been playing a little bit, but he's 3,700 now. Sam Girard is also a decent punt. Doesn't really do a ton, but plays decent minutes. And it is a really good matchup. All right, let's go to... we're not quite at the main course, but let's go to the Sharks and Arizona. The main course is next. Airdell, Antti Ranta, and net 2.7 implied total for the Sharks, 2.8 for the Coyotes. Boy, for me to find something that I really want to play here is tough. It's not that tough, actually. I like Hurdle and Meyer together, but three-man stacking, I actually don't think Marleau is going to be on this line at pregame skate. He was, and I don't even know who Hurdle's going to be with. So if the lines were like this, I would probably lean towards SJ2 and play a little bit of them. Arizona's a pretty good defensive team. They held Vegas in check in Vegas last night, so they're on a back-to-back. Sharks are on a back-to-back. I like Couture and Kane together. I'd rather have Barclay Goodrow up there than Patrick Marleau right now. Marleau scored yesterday, classic, after I dogged on him. Seems like it happens all the time. I hope it's Hurdle, Meyer, and LeBanc. Maybe that's something you could do where you put them in some of your lineups. You put that stack in and then adjust if you have to. Hurdle and Marleau were with Sumela or Gregor last night for a while, for a few shifts. I don't exactly know what happened, but hopefully we get some better Sharks lines. Then I would consider playing them with some regularity. Right now, you're probably just looking at, at least I'm probably just looking at a Carlson or Burns one-off. And then on the Arizona side, they just stink for DFS because they change their lines around all the time. Kessel's on the third line now. Jeez. It's so hard to find news for Arizona. I guess they're at home, so maybe you're going to get some semblance of who's going to play, at least, with each other prior to lock. Or not prior to lock, but prior to this game locking. But this is a later game. So I Stepan Keller and Hinestroza is the line I lead into on Arizona for what it's worth. But nothing more than a secondary filler line if you're playing someone expensive. Not a game I'm all that interested in. 5.5 total game. I try to find something that's going to maybe be useful in MME, and right now the best I can do is Stepan Keller if we have no clue what the Sharks lines are going to be, and I don't really have a clue. Garland is their best player. I don't know. Is that true? I don't even know. I don't watch much Arizona, to be honest. Maybe I should. They've been better this year. Blackhawks and the Avalanche. 3 implied total for the Hawks. 3.4 for the Avs. Robin Lehner expected to go against Philip Grubauer. Frank Koo went yesterday. Crawford. Crawford did go yesterday, but he got pulled. Is that right? Did they actually end up pulling him? Anyways, McKinnon ruined the slate pretty easily, or pretty quickly. I can't even remember if Crawford got pulled. I'm going to look this up right now. Okay, no, he didn't get pulled. He let up 5, and then they kept him in because they want to keep Lehner fresh. That makes sense. That's sharp. Arizona's super boring to watch. Yeah, I figured. I mean, all their total games are like 5.5 shading to the under type of thing. Didn't get the Colorado lines before lock. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to today either. So that's kind of frustrating. Rantanen and McKinnon are going to be together, and probably with Donskoy. So I think you're pretty safe playing this line, and that's really the line that everyone wants to play. You could power play stack it. The Hawks are bottom 5 in all of Corsi against per 60 This is on the road. So if you sort by road teams on Natural Stat Trick, I think I went all strengths. Their bottom 5 or top 5 in Corsi against per 60, scoring chances against per 60, high danger chances against per 60, expected goals against per 60. I mean, and they're number 1 in, I think, high danger and scoring chances against. So they just give up a ton on the road. At home, they're a little bit better, as most teams are. Still not good at home, but that's why I wasn't wild about Colorado won last night. Here, they're by far, I think, the best stack on the slate. Maybe not by far. We still have Edmonton to talk about, who I love. They are, for me right now, they're number 1. If the ownership is similar between them and McDavid and Draisaitl, then yeah, they're gonna stick number 1. If McDavid and Draisaitl are for some reason half the ownership, sure, maybe I end up with more Edmonton 1. But this is the premier play of the night, I think. Kane and DeBrincat, they keep being a disaster defensively. Chicago's a disaster defensively, as I just mentioned. I mean, on the road, they're even worse when they can't do their line matching or get their guys in favorable spots. So, Kadri with Tyson Jost and Comfer. I'm gonna do a quick look after the show and see if they actually stuck together yesterday or what happened there. Just play McKinnon, power play stack Colorado. If you like power play stacking, this is a great spot for that. I even like Makar for 6,700. He's not quite in the Yossi tier for me. He's just not consistent enough. But I think he's going to play, 22, 23 minutes here. I think he's going to play top power play. Probably going to skate some with McKinnon at 5-on-5 and 6,700. He does shoot the puck a lot. So I'm willing to play him for 6,700. Also like Gerard, 33. You could maybe even make a case for Zadorov. But I'm mostly sticking to Makar and Gerard. On the Hawks side, if I was going to someone, it would be I don't even hate Chicago 3, but in terms of like plays that might be priorities for other people, I think you might see some ownership on Chicago 2 because it's Kane and DeBrincat and a cheap center. Be careful with the Chicago lines. They played with Carpenter some last night. Yeah, Colorado's chalk, but I think it's really good chalk here. Maybe Leonard goes off. Maybe Leonard sees a bunch of volume. He probably does. So there's some merit to that, but give me all the Colorado, and I'll just take whatever ownership comes with it. And not much on the Chicago side, again. Vancouver, Edmonton, 2.8 implied total for the Canucks, 3.2 for the Oilers. Markstrom and Mike Smith in net. McDavid, same thing as McKinnon. We go McKinnon, then McDavid. You just play the guys that they correlate to. And he's been playing, McDavid and Draisaitl are on like a historic pace right now as far as points. Don't really see why this would stop now. Edmonton, here. Let's see where they're at on the road, because I do factor in like home road stuff in the NHL because, and maybe that's stupid, but I at least look at it because of the matching. Some coaches are better at getting favorable matchups for their guys, and some don't pay attention to it as much, and it's really frustrating. But I think it ends up getting reflected in the home road stuff. So Vancouver giving up 3.02 expected goals against per 60 on the road. They are top half in high danger chances against. So those are similar stats, maybe a bit redundant there, but just overall general scoring chances, they're 11th as far as giving up the 11th most. They don't give up a ton of shot attempts, but they do give up a lot of quality chances, and quality chances are exactly what McDavid and Draisaitl create all the time. And so, like I said, right now I've got McKinnon and McDavid lines. Those are my top two. I think the ownership's going to be similar between McKinnon, Rantanen compared to McDavid, Draisaitl, and then the third guy's probably going to get left off. Donskoy's going to get left off probably to some extent. Kassian's going to get left off because he's Zach Kassian. But he's actually benefiting quite a bit too. Like, he's not getting left out of the party a lot of the times. Almost 5K for him. But I'm actually, like, we've got him projected as a decent value. You're probably going to need 10 to 15 points if McDavid and Draisaitl go nuts, and he's done that a bunch of times. So I'm including him. Maybe McKinnon throws one off his skate and it goes, or McDavid. And those are the two most fun players to watch in the NHL. It's not even close, right? Those are the guys I try to watch all the time. Anyways, absolutely love Edmonton 1. Going to depend on ownership as far as whether they're my number 1 stack or my number 3 stack or whatever. And same thing for Colorado 1. But both top 3 plays for me very easily. I would have absolutely no issue ending up on them in single entry. And that's kind of that. You can jam in Neal instead of Kassian if you want, or Gagne if you wanted to punt. No problems with anything as far as guys that correlate to a McDavid. Clefbaum at 62 and Nurse for 43 are both great plays, I think. 2 of my top 5 owned defensemen right now. And you can look at Edler on the other side for 5,300. No problem with that. Pretty good chance he plays a ton of minutes trying to get on the ice against McDavid as he's used as their shutdown defenseman. Chance for the combo meal here, no doubt. I like me some Edler on the other side. As far as stacks here, I lean towards the second line for Vancouver, but not really a line I'm going to be getting to all that much. All right, last game of the night. We've got Winnipeg and the LA Kings. Laurent Brossoit expected to go against Jack Campbell. 2.9 implied total for the Jets, 3 for the Kings. This one, I like the Kings again. Kopitar, I follow Brown. They're going to see the most time against Scheifele, Connor, and Laine. And that's a really good spot for them. So, like, their numbers defensively are not good. Kopitar has been solid offensively. I think I had one hiccup in there where they kind of got crushed a little bit. But maybe that was more to do with game flow and getting up early. I can't remember the exact scenario, but Kopitar, I follow Brown, fully correlated. Winnipeg's not good defensively. Backup in net, no Hellebuck. I think this is a really, really nice spot for Kopitar, and they're cheap, so they're not going to go completely overlooked or anything like that. But I do actually like the top 6 once again for the Kings. I've been playing more Kings than anyone lately. I like Wheeler, Ehlers, and Roslovic as a full stack if we're going to the Jets. So, and I do like going to the Jets here. So, my favorite plays here are LA 1 and Winnipeg 2. I don't think they're going to be matched up all that much. That's why you're probably losing money. Yeah, I've had some success with the Kings, actually. Kings 2, I think I had a pretty good one a few nights ago, maybe a week ago on them. My team is the Kings. I always play them. Sounds like Boom. Boom loves playing the Kings. That's his team. Kings and Kucherov. That's all he talks about. So I always attack Winnipeg, and I am, somewhat impressed with the Kings in some of these games. Hopefully they go completely overlooked. I think LA2 is just going to be pretty much unowned. That's going to be a line I'm overweight on for sure. Pretty fun slate here. I think ownership definitely matters because it always does, especially at the top. But don't go crazy. Like don't get off the best plays just because they're chalk on a big slate like this. It's NHL DFS. People, it's not. People don't get to 60% where you have to start thinking about a fade or anything like that. I don't think, at least. LA2 plus Florida 1. I like it. I think you're going to be pretty different, even though Florida 1 is going to be somewhat popular. But like I've said that about a bunch of lines, that they're going to be popular. And not everyone can be popular. So, thank you guys for watching. Again, sorry for the early show time. I'll try to be around. Like I said, the weather is pretty bad here. It's supposed to keep snowing all day, and I don't know. There's been outages around here. So hopefully nothing happens and I can play the slate and grind some news for the rest of the day. But I'll be around. I'll have my phone in case the Wi-Fi has issues or whatever. But good luck tonight, guys. Check out all of our NFL content. Go play over on Yahoo Daily Fantasy. They are a great place to play. And if you got any questions about Yahoo, about their low management fees, about Nolan almost binking NBA last night in their guaranteed overlay tournament, if you got any questions, feel free to hit me up, whether it's in Slack, whether it's on Twitter. I handle is above me. And good luck. I will see you guys back on Monday.